Okay, so she's been the matriarch of the kōhanga reo movement for 32 years, but allegations of misspending public money has seen the finger of blame firmly pointed at Dame Iritana Tawhiwhirangi.
Now, the Trust is in charge of about $80 million in funding to 496 kōhanga reo, Māori language preschools. It's also paid $2.5 million a year by the Ministry of Education.
So can the Trust resist Crown intrusion? Willie Jackson sat down with Dame Iritana and asked her, is it time to go?
Kia ora whaia, thanks for joining us on Marae. The perception, I suppose, that came through media was that the kōhanga reo trust was dysfunctional. You were just looking after each other, and you're a crook. Did you think that was a fair perception?
Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The media, you know, if they get stuff that is newsworthy, they'll hop in and make most of it. They're entitled to say what they have to say.
I mean, did the media have a right to ask the hard questions of kōhanga?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because if they've got rubbish fed into them, obviously they're going to want to ask the hard questions. So, you know, but in the end, the media is not my worry overly. My perception in the boards is that we're concerned about the perception of kōhanga whānau. That's number one. The rest, well, that's their right, but...
One of the main questions, I suppose, was that you were just looking after yourselves, giving loans. The Trust was giving loans to workers, to family associates, to friends.
Well, can I
just...
just...
Was that true?
No, the Trust wasn't giving any loans to anyone. It was a company. We had a separate company that was approved by the kōhanga whānau around the country, and the objective of it was to, A, generate income with their permission that would enable us to be able to address the needs of kōhanga where government wasn't funding it. And secondly, probably even more important to me personally, was to be able to enable our whānau to access vehicles and playground equipment and health for the mokopuna, all that. So, no, I don't apologise.
So you don't apologise? It wasn't just loans for the
benefits,
for whanaunga or friends?
Well, you know, all the ones that were entitled to be supported in this way were the people over 30 years and before any great funding came from the government who gave everything, gave most of them, and we all know that, you know, they're all living on the smell of an oily rag. So why not consider the commitment that they've given over many years?
Did the allegations hurt Fire? Did they hurt you personally?
No, they didn't hurt me because I know what the reason. I mean, I can understand the situation that we're in.
Well, you've been a long,
it hurt the kōhanga whānau.
But you've been around a long time. You've been a leader for Te Ao Māori.
Well, I hope I've been a steward person, you know, that develops leadership in the families. I'm not concerned about being a flipping leader myself.
Right.
But, you know, if you can develop... that's why I love whānau. It's about the families.
But you weren't angry with the allegations?
I was upset for the whānau, not for myself. I mean, people can say what they like, you know, if you don't know yourself well. But no, I mean, the whole criticism of me being a crook or whatever, all the rest of it was a bit of a giggle, actually.
You're 86.
Yep.
I mean, you're older than Mandela when Mandela gave up the presidency.
Well, he's dopey, he should have stayed longer.
But is it time for you to go? I mean, your nephew John Tawhiwhirangi said you should have left 10, 15 years ago.
Well, John Tawhiwhirangi, you can go and jump. What he's saying is, that's his view.
Yes.
But from my point of view, there's two options. One, when the whānau tell me to go, or you won't see me for dust. Secondly, if they don't say that, then the next option is when I croak.
Right, you get on the Trust and you're there for life. I mean, I've never seen a trust like that.
No, you haven't, and that's because you don't know your Maori world as well as you should. But what it is that the life membership was not set up by us. It was instigated in 1982 by Sir John Bennett, Sir Graham Latimer, Karapuka Tapu and Ben Couch at the time. Those four were the ones who appointed the trustees, and they appointed them for life on the basis.
But that's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it isn't, because if you've got people that understand this left field sort of addressing reo and all the rest of it, then you've got to understand it. And they were the guardians of it. They were the kaitiaki. And at the time, the gentleman concerned stated that they wanted life membership to make sure that the kaupapa was looked after, and secondly, they aligned it to some tribes that have trustees on the Marae, they're there for life.
Has the time come for, say, rangatahi to come through?
Oh, everyone.
You know, young guns who should be, who should be promoted perhaps to the trust?
Yeah, no, they're open for anyone, except that the people who come on the board will be nominated by kōhanga whānau.
Right, so
If they want to nominate Mickey Mouse, that's fine.
So, yes, there's an opening?
If the whānau put their names up.
Right,
absolutely, of course.
When's this life membership, when's it going to go? Because
we've been around the country talking to our people,
Right.
Twice we've been around, and none of them don't want us to go at all. The other half say yes, and so we've gone with the change, because Tamati not Tamati, Timoti and Wharehuia,
Yes.
they've been wanting to jump long ago.
they've been wanting to go. What about you? Why don't you just go to the po? Why don't you go the matriarch, the fire? Why do you have to be a trustee?
I want to be where I can have a say.
Right.
I'm not no good sitting silently watching what's going on.
So you don't want to be just that must have been suggested, the po, the
Oh,
fire?
they did. They wanted the king.
Matriarch?
Yeah, they wanted the king and myself to be, joint patrons, and I said, well, he's tapu, I'm not.
Right.
And I'm not happy to sit there and say nothing.
Right.
So,
Well, you run the show, really, don't you?
No way.
No?
No, the people run it. I just help them to do it. The board helps them to do it.
Yes, so you're staying as the po, and you've appointed a new CEO. Another one of your nieces?
Well, your relation too. I mean, she's Tainui, she's Ngāpuhi, she's Ngāti Pro.
We're talking about
Kararaina Crib.
Karanaina Crib.
Yeah.
So she's Ngāti Pro. A new look? You're not going to sack this one, are you?
Well, if she deserves to be sacked, of course she'll be sacked.
But what's she got? Why should kōhanga feel, why should the whānau feel confident with this new CEO?
Well, most of them know her.
Right.
She was working in kōhanga for several years before she moved on to Whatireia and moved on to Nesqua and moved on to the ministry. So she's had experience in the machinery of government and certainly in the Māori world.
You didn't appoint her, did you?
No, we had an independent panel who recommended and the board appointed.
And the board appointed. In terms of where kōhanga is at, it's, in 2012 you got a very good tribunal, Waitangi Tribunal ruling that said that the kōhanga has basically been wronged by the government. It's not been supported properly, and the government basically asked the tribunal asked that the government virtually apologise to kōhanga. That's all been lost now, and it looks like that you have to come under mainstream.
Oh,
Would you support that?
No. Oh, well, in my mind, whether I support it, the kōhanga whānau will go to war.
You want your own independent stuff?
Well, they do, and I mean, all the board is to take a lead from the whānau about what they want.
Because people have forgotten that 2012 recommendation, haven't they? With
whānau haven't.
With the bad publicity in the last couple of years. Given the bad publicity, though, Fire, is it realistic now for the trust to still ask for independence?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I can understand the government being hesitant when all this other stuff was generated. But given that, the trust has been reviewed to death by EY, by the KPMG, by DIA, and a serious fraud, come on, hey, what's the problem? Yeah. It's now time to revisit the claim, because it was on the table. And it was held up. Well, it's time to get back on the table and take it from there. There's no reason why it shouldn't.
That's right. So if you're cleared of everything, I know you have court cases pending, it's business as usual, let's revisit the tribunal claim. That's what you want, that's what the trustees want?
Well, to put it this way, better business than as usual, better. And that's what the objective is, and that's where we're going.
Kia ora, Whai.
Kia ora.